Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. On this video, we want to look into the hidden message of the Lego movies. This movie and the Truman Show movie are some of the most truthful films that are produced by the mainstream media. The majority of movies are pure evil and full of negative messages and mindless garbage. However, I rarely mention those movies and cartoons and songs and video games because they're a waste of time. The reason why I focus on exposing mainly these types of programs that have a lot of truth in them is that these are actually the most deceptive ones, and they are also the only ones that I find interesting enough to watch and analyze. In fact, I think that if you're deceived by the more outwardly negative programs, then you probably deserve to be deceived. This is why I focus mainly on exposing the more confusing programs that appear to be truthful, but they ultimately lead people astray, including the people who hate them, because they are tricked into going the opposite direction. And so since there is truth in these programs, the opposite direction is actually sometimes, not just sometimes as bad, and sometimes even worse than the movie itself. And that's why there are so many fake conspiracy theorists who make videos or write books against such programs, but in a deceptive way, in order to make you hate and oppose the entire story, especially the good parts of the story, which are usually only in the beginning of the film or video game. As I've said before, the Illuminati have a fake light side and a fake dark side to them. And in fact, they want to associate us, religious people and conspiracy researchers, with the dark Illuminati and make us embrace their negative or passionless path instead. But I focus on exposing these type of shows because through exposing them, I can begin an intellectual thought process, which becomes a means by which I can teach the truth and explain what's really happening and how things actually are. I don't want to turn people 180 degrees against the story of such programs and tell them to become the exact opposite. Rather, I want to also show which parts are true so people won't fall into the fake left versus right or yin versus yang deception. As usual with these type of programs, the Lego movie also begins by showing some truth in the first 20 minutes. In fact, the reason why I'm making this video about this particular movie is because this movie actually has a lot more truth than most other movies. And they tell truths that you won't find in any other movie or program or video game. Of course, they are doing this now because the public has become more informed because of the internet. And just as the internet has now changed and the shills are trying to take the conspiracy researchers back towards the mainstream media, so too this movie eventually does the same thing. And like the many movies and video games that we've exposed in the past, such as Final Fantasy VIII, Harry Potter, Metal Gear Solid, Avatar, The Matrix, and the list goes on. Like all those programs, it begins by telling you a lot of truth, but then it tells you the opposite, usually on a subliminal level or in a drawn out way so that you won't notice it. So that you won't notice how you're being deceived and manipulated into going the opposite direction. So first, here are some clips from the first 20 minutes of the movie where the movie actually tells the truth.
Ah, the Craggle! Now my evil power will be unlimited. Can you feel me?
This here is President Business, the guy who runs the world in this movie. And notice that at the beginning, he seems to resemble Satan. He has a satanic appearance.
Shave your face?
So here they tell you that the government is brainwashing you into shaving your beard. And many people don't know this, but people in Europe people in the West they didn't shave in the past, and they were manipulated through a lot of propaganda and a lot of movies, and they even had billboards telling people to shave their beards or else they're gonna get sick. They used to tell people all over Europe, all over America, that if they don't shave their beards, they will have all kind of diseases. Okay, and so they manipulated. That's the reason why the majority of people in the West shave their beards today. They were manipulated into this. It has nothing to do with Christianity or Christian culture. They were manipulated into shaving their beards. And likewise, although it's good to brush your teeth, you're supposed to brush your teeth with sticks, especially with sticks from olive tree, and that's how Muslims traditionally brushed their teeth. But these chemicals that they used for brushing your teeth, these modern way of brushing, is actually very harmful for many reasons, especially if you swallow it. And it's not just the fluoride. I mean, you're putting all these chemicals in your mouth, these nasty chemicals, and this actually discourages people from brushing their teeth because it's very uncomfortable. That's one of the reasons why children don't like brushing their teeth, is because you're telling them to put all this disgusting toothpaste in their mouth and they don't like to do it. But if you just tell them to brush their teeth with a stick, it's easy, and anyway, you can do it any time in the day. You can do it over and over again, and you don't need to spit all over and over. So yeah, these are some of the manipulations that people have been given, that they think that they have to use toothpaste to brush their teeth. And I don't use toothpaste, and my teeth aren't very white. But the thing is, I have never been to the dentist except for a few times when my father took me my father used to take me to the dentist forcefully when I was a kid. But ever since I've been a teenager, and I started living alone, I have never had any problem with my teeth. I've never gone to the dentist or anything. And I brush my teeth using a stick, using an olive stick, in this traditional Islamic way. They call it the sevak. And so, again, the movie is telling the truth, that the government is run by Satan. It is Satan who is running our world, and they are brainwashing you into shaving your beard every day, every morning shaving, and brushing your teeth with toothpaste and these plastic toothbrushes.
Shave your face? Rough Pop dry cleaning before noon. Read the headlines.
Read the headlines. Again, that's what the government wants, for you to read the headlines. And because the headlines are almost always lies. You may have a little bit of truth in some newspapers, in the middle, in some corner of some newspaper, but the headlines, 99% of the time, they are lies. And most of the newspapers are just full of lies. Most of the news is fake. But the headlines, the main ones, the ones that they focus on the most, those are the fakest ones.
Hi, I'm President Business, President of the Octan Corporation and the world. Let's take extra care to follow the instructions or you'll be put to sleep. And don't forget Taco Tuesday's coming next week. That's the day every rule-following citizen gets a free taco and my love. Have a great day, everybody.
You have a great day too, President Business. Man, he's such a cool guy. I always want to hear more of what... Wait, did he say put to sleep?
Tonight on Where Are My Pants?
Honey, where are my pants?
What was I just thinking? I don't care.
Notice that when President Business says the world, he points towards a ball earth. And as I've said before, the earth is neither a ball nor flat. It's actually half a sphere. Both the flat earth propaganda that we get from Christianity and from movies like The Truman Show and movies like Dark City, that's disinfo. And this ball earth that we get on television most of the time, and on the school system, and the fake science, that is also disinformation. It's neither flat nor a ball. It's half a ball. It's half a sphere. It's igloo shaped in reality, and it doesn't spin. It's stationary. It's the sun and the moon that are moving, and the earth is stationary, and it's half a ball. It's half a sphere.
Everything is awesome.
Instructions coming in from Central. Okay, it says here to take everything weird and blow it up. All right, Silverhead. Let's make it look exactly like it does in the instructions.
Did you hear what he said? He said destroy everything weird. This is referring to destroying Tartaria. They're destroying Tartaria and replacing it with this ugly world that they've created today.
I can sing this song for hours!
Everything is awesome.
you're part of a team!
Oh my God. I'm back. I'm home. All the time it was. We finally really did it. You maniacs! You blew it up! Oh, damn you! God damn you all to hell!
Everything is awesome.
Instructions coming in from Central. Okay, it says here to take everything weird and blow it up. All right, Silverhead. Let's make it look exactly like it does in the instructions.
So you may ask, how come we've never heard about this, Tartaria being destroyed and being replaced by this fake civilization and this fake history, and how come none of the history books tell us this? How come if you go to the bookstores, the famous bookstores, or your schools, or your school library, or your university, how come they never teach these things? Because they control all modern books that are widely published. They're controlled by them. The only way you can read a real book today is if someone gets his own printer and prints his own book. Actually writes an article and prints his own book. But they won't make any money if you do that. So all these books, all of them, now at least 99% of the books that you can find today, over 99%, are written by the same world organization. They're following the same agenda. They're all fake. You're not getting real information from them. You're not getting real history or even real science and geography from them. Most of it is fake. I'm not saying everything is fake. I'm not saying it's 100% fake. But most of history, most of geography, and even science, a lot of science is also fake.
3 days before President Business is going to use the crackle to end the world.
President Business is gonna end the world? But he's such a good guy. In Octan, they make good stuff. Music, dairy products, coffee, TV shows, surveillance systems, all history books. But he's such a good guy. In Octan, they make good stuff. Music, dairy products, coffee, TV shows, surveillance systems, all history books.
So, the dairy products, which is the cows, the animals that are tortured in these factories, the surveillance system, spying on people, the media, and of course all history books. And so the movie is actually telling you that it's all controlled by the President Business, who is basically portrayed as Satan at the beginning of the movie. So Satan is running the whole show. He's controlling the media, he's controlling the government, he's controlling the surveillance system, he's controlling the history books, he's torturing animals in these factories. It's not being done by separate people, individuals, individual companies, as they like us to believe. When you watch TV, when you watch the news, when you go to the schools, they tell you that, you have freedom, everyone has freedom, and the reason why bad things happen in this world is because of freedom. Because people are free to torture animals. Some businesses torture animals. But they don't want you to know that those businesses that torture animals are the same businesses that run the military and who run, the presidency of America, who run the White House, who run the elections, who control your universities, your history books, your geography books. There's the same people doing these things. And so only independent people are those, rare cases where you can find an organic local farm. And they usually go out of business real quickly because the supermarkets are not willing to buy their real organic food from them. And so they go out of business usually. And even if you find them, they're very difficult to find. You have to travel for miles and miles to get some dairy from a real farmer, from a good farmer. And so they run the whole show. There's very little freedom in this so-called free world, in the so-called land of the free. And I said before, it's not the land of the free, it's the land of the Freemasons. And that's actually the trick, as we shall see on part 2, inshallah. So far we only looked at the true things in this movie. You only analyze the things in this movie that are true. But as we shall see on part 2, inshallah, the movie actually portrays the enemies of President Business as the Freemasons. So the people who are fighting against president business in this movie are the Freemasons, which is exactly like the movie Total Recall, the same thing, where they show the sorcerers and the soothsayers as fighting against the government, even though they're really the same. It's the sorcerers who are running the government.
Hey guys, great job on the radio station.
Thank you, sir. We love listening to this song over and over again.
Keep it up, guys.
Honey, where are my pants?
Cut. Hilarious. That never gets old.
It does not.